Yeah. Woo!
No. I'm dressed in a fucking bunny costume. So, when I say what's up, Los Angeles, you lose your minds. So,
Yeah!
what's up, Los Angeles?
Woo!
What is happening right now?
He's lost his
I
mind.
was going to be joined by 3 other people on stage, and as you can tell, I got the shortest straw, and no one else came up. So thanks for that, Lyric. Thank you for being here tonight. How does it feel? You're in the room with greatness. You are about to see. It is the U.S. premiere.
Woo!
I can't breathe. It is the U.S. premiere of Bryan Fuller's Dust Bunny.
Yes!
Sorry. The joy of Beyond Fest is not wearing this costume. It's being able to see films and then instantly saying, we have to share this with the greatest audience in the world. Because this film is a mind melt. It is beautiful. It is full of... It's me! I beheaded the bunny, okay, that's fine. No, but this is a film, it is full of heart, it is full of humanity, it is full of horror, and it is exactly what you would expect from someone like Bryan Fuller, who throughout his career has given us all of those emotions and such a range of world building, but he's done it on this little thing called a TV.
Woo!
No, we're not doing that anymore because we've got this gigantic screen, a camera.
Yeah!
A canvas upon which Bryan's work is going to be displayed, and with these beautiful speakers and in this beautiful house, you are going to be transported to a place unlike any you've ever seen before. So, Dust Bunny. It premiered at TIFF. We saw it, we begged, we pleaded, we scratched, we fought. Thank you, Roadside Attractions, wherever you are, that's the team that's distributing this film. We said we have to show it, we have to be the people to share it, and then obviously to Bryan as well, because we were like, we love your film dearly, and with the audience that we have and the people that we have in Los Angeles, we knew that this was the right home and the right environment to see this film. So Roadside, Bryan, thank you all for giving us the support to do this. Everybody involved, Lyric, Joaquin, everyone in the theater.
Woo,
shout
Joaquin!
out to projection today.
Yeah!
All of the volunteers. Thank you all for being here. I think we've got about 64 days left of Beyond Fest, so you're wearing it well. If you start to flag, I have a costume you can wear. It'll pep you up. But no, this is the total labor of love. This thing. Beyond Fest was created as a labor of love, as a means of giving us all a home where we can come in a darkened theater and watch incredible movies that melt and blow our minds. No one's going to see this film until it opens in theaters December 5th.
Oh.
So it's going to basically go on ice. So your job and your responsibility for the next 2 months. Your job and responsibility for the next 2 months is to tell everybody you know how much you love this film, because it is really special. As is a filmmaker, he's the brains behind it, he's the vision behind it, he's the writer, he's the director, he's everything behind it. Please, Los Angeles, give it up, Mr. Bryan Fuller.
Yeah!
Reminded me there's also a mid-credit scene.
Oh.
So this movie is a love letter to all of those fucked up kids who are traumatized by big summer movies in the 80s.
Oh.
So it's an Amblin brand, even though it's Roadside Attractions, and thank you so much for bringing us your Roadside Attractions.
Woo!
This is for all of the kids from tricky childhoods who struggled through, made it to adulthood, and movies like Goonies and E.T. and Poltergeist.
Yeah!
And Gremlins.
Gremlins!
Were our savings grace. And this has the same runtime as Gremlins, which we were very conscious about delivering a high concept story with children in danger in that format. There are so many people who worked on this movie. Our production designer, Jeremy Reed, our wonderful cinematographer, Nicole Whitaker,
Yeah!
our fabulous editor, Go see it again with your kids. It's rated R. We
Yeah.
thought we were making a children's movie. This is why I should not be responsible for taking care of your children in any capacity, because I'll show them movies like this.
Yeah.
Hope you all enjoy. Thank you for being here.
Woo!
He's the writer, he's the director, he's the
Yeah!
beautiful mind behind the beautiful.
Woo!
Mr. Bryan Fuller.
Bryan, yeah! Woo!
You know, if someone has a good question, maybe we'll throw a David Lynch shirt at them or something.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And also, if there are any writers in the room that don't have Final Draft 13, I have 10 of them. So come up afterwards and we'll make sure that you get some care of Final Draft.
Yeah!
There you go. Look at that. You just bring these big streets. I don't know what to say. I just sat at the back just smiling the whole time. It's beautiful. How does the guy who's so immersed and entrenched in making TV for so long, great TV, transition from that to this?
This was originally developed as an amazing story. So it started out as a TV show and with Amblin. So I've got Spielberg's notes on it, and he really loved the story. We couldn't get it through the process there. So it was very much a TV show, an episode of TV. And when we were having trouble getting it approved, I was like, you know what, this would be a fun movie. And it feels like it's very Amblin because all of the amazing stories were designed to be Amblin movies. And I thought, I've put it off long enough, so time to direct.
How long were you sitting with this then?
I wrote it in 2018, and it lived and died and lived and died and lived and died and lived and died over a few different studios, and then finally someone, E1, read it, and I was like, will you make it with Mads Mikkelsen? And they said yes, and we were off to the races.
Was Mads always your first choice? Because obviously you worked with him with Hannibal, so you guys...
Yes.
Yeah!
Yes. And he's my brother and champion, and I pitched this to him at the premiere of Rogue One.
Oh, wow.
It was going to be an amazing story, and I was like, do you want to come and do an episode? And I pitched it to him, you know, a little girl hires a hitman to kill a monster in your bed, and he was like, I'm in, send me the script when you have it. And then it didn't make it through, and so I wrote it as a movie, and when I sent it to him, he was so sweet, because Mads is so cool, and he's such a rock star, and I'm always intimidated to talk, because he's just too, he's so cool. And he was very sweet about how honored he was that I wanted to do it with him, and I was like, you're doing me a favor. So it's that kind of relationship. And like some of the stunt sequences, we choreographed ourselves on a Sunday afternoon with Bruce Lee action figures.
Yes!
So I knew Bruce Lee was his favorite, and so I was like, let's do a nunchuck thing. And so it really was, I had no idea how cool he thought I was until we were making this, and he was going to such lengths he took over stunts. He took over so much of the production in terms of his energy and his positivity. He was great with Sophie, who I thought really wanted to
Woo, Sophie was awesome!
She's Scottish, so she has this thick Scottish brogue. And when we found her, it was like, you're great, but your accent is so thick, and Mads' accent is so thick, and nobody will know what you're saying into the movie. And she watched TikTok videos for 2 weeks and came back with the perfect American accent.
I get the feeling there's a lot of these stories behind this film. It feels like a charmed film in many ways, and it's. You're talking about the Bruce Lee action figures and the TikTok. I get the feeling that the whole film, like making this, it feels like a labor of love for you.
It was, and it was definitely laborious in the making of it, but I had so many people around me that had my back, not just Maz and Sigourney. And Lorraine Sigourney is like dressed from the tea shop to
Aw, yeah.
So it was, Nicole Whitaker had my back in such a tremendous way. That was my big sister.
Woo!
Can we talk? I know we jumped around a little bit, but can we talk about Nicole? So Nicole's the cinematographer.
Yes.
This film looks incredible. Can you share? Was all the story? Let's go back a little bit. Did you storyboard everything? Did you know everything in your head? Because you've been living with this as a show and then transitioning to the film and you're writing it. Did you see everything? And then when Nicole joined your team, you were like, it's like this and like this and like this? Or did she just roll it out? How did this come to look the way that it looked? Because it's a stunner. And I know I said at the beginning, like, and I wasn't trying to be dismissive of the TV work, but this is a whole other thing. And visually seeing this and on this screen, it's so sumptuous. It's beautiful. Tell us about shooting this thing and the visuals behind it, because the identity is unbelievable.
Well, we started, Nicole took me to Aerie and we started looking at lenses, and we're both sort of, lens addict. And there's a great Instagram, if you don't follow, I think it's called Lens Addict, that goes through, if you don't follow them and you like cinema, you're in for a treat. Just follow them. But we went to Aerie and we were looking at all sorts of lenses, and we were talking about the psychology of the movie and how we wanted certain things to drop off at certain points, and we're both, loved how the Batman was shot, and so we have some lenses that they were using, but we're 3-1, so we are the widest movie that's going to be distributed since the year 1917, which was 4-1, and that was Napoleon. So this is very wide, and that came about because Nicole took off the mat when she was switching lenses, and we just stared at the aspect ratio, and it was so, you could just see a little girl getting lost in it.
Yeah.
And what could creep in from the sides, and that was kind of the genesis for the uniqueness of the look.
It's not just, I thought that as I'm watching it, it's not just the little girl that's getting lost in the frame, it's also us as an audience, because it's totally, it transports you to a different place. And it's off kilter as well. As you said, like, you don't see this aspect ratio. It was interesting, I was talking to Joaquin, who's running the theater, and I was like, get me the aspect ratio on this, because it's like, it's breaking my brain right now. But you've got such a tight focus in the middle, but then the periphery on so many of those shots, you're just letting it just kind of dissipate. When you went in, so getting back to the very beginning, as you're visualizing this, were these happy accidents that you were working your way through, or it was like you had such a tight vision on what you wanted?
There were a lot of happy accidents, as there always are. There were 2 sequences that were storyboarded by Dan Milligan, who is a fantastic storyboard artist. And the rest I drew with stick figures. And so Nicole, I had like little cheekbones for Maz, like when it was him, so we knew it was Maz, and I gave Aurora, Sophie, little bunny teeth, so we knew what was her in the drawings, but it was very, very, very rudimentary stick drawings of where the camera would be, and Nicole would just look at it and go like, I get it, I know where it is, and she was off to the races. We had, I think we had a crane a couple of days, but we had this wonderful Hungarian crewman who would come up every day and say, how long do you want the crane today? And it would be 60 feet, can we do 60 feet? And he would start strapping scaffolding together and with belts, and would build us a crane every morning because we could only afford to have it a couple of days. So we had a man-made crane almost every day.
How long was the shoot? It was Budapest. The whole thing was Budapest?
Everything was Budapest, and it was a 44-day shoot with a monster and a little girl, which always seems intimidating. And once again, we had a lot of wonderful help everybody was stepping up in a way because it was a challenging production, especially most of the crew didn't speak English, and and so we really had to rally, and everybody kind of came together in a way that made me feel loved.
And your cast as well, I assume. I mean, you talked about Sophie, but Mads was in because you got this mind melt. Where did Sigourney come into the process?
Well, Sigourney was always at the back of my mind because I love the plays of Christopher Durang, and he has a very dry, absurdist wit, and that was kind of in my mind as I was writing it. And she is a frequent collaborator, was a frequent collaborator with Christopher, and her comedy is so specific, and she never plays the joke. She always plays that she is the joke. And I met with her, and we had such a fun conversation, and we talked a lot about it was interesting because it's fun to see this movie at the Egyptian because Alien premiered here in '79. The space jockey was out there, so it's wonderful symmetry that we're here tonight with Beyond Fest, and she's just a really good time, and she also will stick her neck out for you.
Yeah.
And that was really fun to see because she didn't have to, and she only came in for a couple of weeks. And we're also David Dastmalchian, who is a great criminal scene stiller that he is, and Rebecca Henderson, who is the other intimidating woman. And they came in, we were in the middle of the strike, and I was like, you guys are gonna have to ad-lib some stuff because I can't tell you what to do, and I can't tell you what to say if it's not already written. So a lot of that stuff in the hallway, that's all improvised by Rebecca and David because I couldn't be part of that process.
It's crazy, but you wouldn't change a frame, right? I mean, it's perfect. The relationship that they have, the relationship that Mads has with Sigourney, and then Mads back to Sophia. Sophia or Sophie?
Sophie.
Sophie. What did they do to bond? Because, and how did that relationship change through the 40 plus days that you were shooting?
Well, Sophie had sort of three buttresses, myself, Maz, and I think one of the smartest things I did on the movie is hire basically an acting coach / concierge. We always talk about, for adults, intimacy coordinators on a set. But a very good friend of mine, Lena, who plays the mom who gets eaten very early on, she's sort of Danish Jodie Foster and was a child actor of note in Denmark. And she was like, if you're working with a child, hire an acting coach that can maintain the bubble so they can still be a child and go to an adult place and navigate it with as much care and support as possible. And so the three of us would just huddle around Sophie and go through scene by scene, and it really was three parents making sure that, like, the worst thing for me that could have happened is if Sophie did this movie and she was like, that was fucked up. I had a terrible experience. I had my childhood taken away. And instead, I think we gave her a beautiful childhood memory, and I'm very proud of that.
What did she see of the dust? What did she see of the Dust Bunny on set? What was the practical, and because obviously you're playing with effects and then practical, what did she see?
We had a giant bunny built.
Not like the one I was wearing, guys.
Good. Close. Big head and arms, and so it was really fun to bring her in, and we filmed it and took pictures of her gasping, of this little girl, and she's itty bitty, and this massive bunny, and she was like, he's not scary, he's cute, and it was like, good.
Yeah. Wait until the bunny eats someone, then we'll see how cute it feels. So, and then that relationship between the practical and the CG, did the film really come to life in post, or was it already laid out?
Post was, I mean, it's a major visual effects movie, and I think we got something like $12 million of visual effects for 1.9.
Where do you shop?
We have a wonderful visual effects supervisor named Craig Lynn, who's worked on just about everything, and he made it happen miraculously. The post team was very, very small. It was me, Craig, Lisa, our editor, Iman, Lisa's assistant, and Shannon Leals, who was our visual effects editor, and it was just us. And Craig working with all of these vendors all over the world, so we'd be taking calls and meetings very early in the morning, very late at night, to navigate, wonderful Indian vendors. So many favors were pulled in, and Craig has a great reputation in the industry, so everybody is willing to do him favors and pay it forward.
It's amazing. It's not just labor of love for you, but like you brought that energy and that spirit that cascaded into your cast and into the rest of the crew. It's beautiful.
Everybody started rowing the same direction.
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful to be in that boat, and when we had hard times in the production, how all those people just rallied around in a way that was like kind of why you make movies, is to have that kind of communal experience. And it's Judy and Mickey putting on a show in the barn, but in Budapest with, crazy handmade cranes.
What were the hardest days of shooting? What were the hardest sequences?
There were days that we had like 3 or 4 units going on, where on one side of the apartment door was day and the other side was night, and I was running back and forth between units. Craig was shooting a unit. Chris Byrne, who was instrumental in creating the look of Hannibal, came out to help us because there was so many pieces that were just falling away, and we're like, we've got to get that. And there's a whole sequence that we cut from the movie that was sort of inspired by the sequence of Delicatessen, where the smoke and the bubbles, that was Dave in the dim sum shop, because Sophie goes to look for Maz there right before she goes back home again. And there was this sequence where he carves little figurines out of vegetables of her and opens up his jacket like the proscenium of a stage, and she sees this magical little show with her, and it was really cute and sweet, but it took away from the tension and her loneliness, because she was really charming in those scenes, and it was like, oh, we don't feel that she's scary anymore, so we had to cut it.
So we'll see it on the DVD.
Hopefully. We also shot Sigourney getting spit out by the monster. So we have that, and she looks like Robert Smith from The Cure. The hair and the makeup, and so we have that in our back pocket.
Okay, we'll see all of that. So Sigourney lives, Mad lives, Aurora lives, Dust Bunny sequel?
I mean, I think we're such a small release, and thank God Roadside Attractions picked us up and is giving us a theatrical distribution. So for a while, I was like, well, maybe we're not coming out, maybe we are coming out, and Roadside Attractions and Eric and Howard were like, we think this movie should be in theaters. So
I mean, it should. I mean, you can see how it played tonight. Should we take a couple questions?
Yeah, and throw some t-shirts.
There's a lot of hands. Brian, do you want to pick someone? Then I'll repeat.
Yes.
Brett, yep.
It's such a beautiful film, and you've already talked about that, but it's so wide, and that's different from all your other TV work where you're in a more confined, boxy shape. What was your favorite thing about stretching your images out, and what was the most challenging thing?
What was your favorite thing about working on a bigger canvas that you have here from TV, and what was the most challenging aspect of that as well?
It wasn't terribly challenging because I had Nicole, and Nicole just figured the shit out. Whatever we wanted to do, she was like, okay, I got it. I don't know how I'm gonna look like that, and I was like, you'll figure it out.
How did you find her? Or had you worked together previously?
I hadn't worked with her. Chris Byrne from Hannibal, as I was looking at cinematographers, he was like, you gotta work with Nicole. Like, I worked with her on the show. She's amazing. She's very crafty. She likes to develop and explore and experiment, and she's perfect for you. And we had a meeting. I met with a few cinematographers. She's the only one who showed up with a plan and a point of view. And it was, she's my big sister.
Oh.
Yeah, she's perfect. She's perfect. Yeah, right there, yep.
First off, it was so much fucking fun.
Oh, good.
Love it. The monster kind of has like a Chuck Jones and Looney Tunes aspect. What was the inspiration behind making the beast?
Inspiration behind the bunny.
I reached out to a fantastic comic book artist named John Wayshak, Jon.
Wayshak.
Who's, if you haven't seen his work, it's mad. He's got such a mad point of view on characters and characterizations. So I called John, I was like, you want to design a monster? And he's like, what does it look like? I was like, well, it's part Highland cow, part piranha, and all bunny. And he drew it. And with a little underbite, and it had such character, and it was something that I wanted to pet. And so it really was John Wayshak kind of bringing those disparate elements together in one beast.
And when he shared that drawing with you, you were like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Well, at first he had horns, and then I was like, it's Ludo. It's gonna be, like, we're gonna get hit with Labyrinth, and I love Labyrinth. And you can kind of see Labyrinth's influence on this movie. And so it was basically just like, remove the horns.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Why? Yes, you. Yep.
Okay, I thought the locations and the sets were really awesome, and I'm wondering if you could talk about the decision to film in Budapest and what it was like.
Six locations and shooting in Budapest.
There was some talk initially about being in Croatia and closer to the war. And I was like, let's just go a little bit more south to Budapest. And I had seen a few things in Turkey. I love the movie Spy with Melissa McCarthy. And there were like a lot of locations of that where I was like, that's a cool building, that's a cool staircase. And what was wonderful about Budapest was it can be New York, it can be Berlin, it can be Paris. It has a lot of the wonderful architecture. But we happened upon our wonderful location scout, Marcy Ballant, found a recently refurbished Hungarian treasury. And that's the apartment building. And we had looked at a lot of different locations for the apartment, but nobody had shot in it before. We loved the colors. Jeremy went wild, and he kind of took those inspirations and transferred them into the apartment. And so even like the wine cellar, the Subway sandwich shop, all those were kind of exhaustive location scouting. So we had some great locations, some fantastic production design, and Budapest, I loved living in Budapest for the 6 months or 5 months that we were there. It's very, it's racist and homophobic, and there's a dictatorship, so there was like stuff going on. But you didn't feel that on our crew at all. Sheila had some experiences there that were not cool, and I had friends who visited me who were not white, and they didn't have a great time, and some shockingly homophobic things were said to me over the course of the visit. But it's a great city. It's all familiar now.
I'm never going to Budapest.
I've been working that for a while now, so I was
Maz, it is intimidating how good he is at his job in terms of understanding a script. All of his notes on the script were great. And what was the most amazing about working with him is how much he cared and how much he had my back in a lot of tricky circumstances. And like I said, the stunts, at a certain point, he would be telling the stuntmen how to do the stunts because he had more stunt experience than they did. So he'd be like, no, you don't have to reset it and completely redo it. Just release the rope like when I tell you to. And they're like, it's not gonna work. He's like, it's gonna work. And once they finally listened to him, it did work. But that was being able to take advantage of that level of experience and also that level of camaraderie. And his relationship with Sophie was, I think, the thing that, it didn't surprise me, but it warmed the cockles of my heart at how sweet he was. And he was a new grandpa to a little granddaughter, and you can see that love and affection coming through with her, with Sophie on our movie. So I can't wait to work with him again. And I've got lots of ideas on how we can play together. I've never felt so protected and cared for by an actor. Oh, Chicken Man! Like, the animal thing started with a note from Sigourney where she was like, I don't know about this scene where they're cutting up this body and they're just sitting there talking. And she's like, I think you have to do something cute with like the suitcases that they're putting on, like maybe it's a panda or something like that. And I was like, that's a great idea. And then it started this kind of chain reaction of looking for animal motifs throughout, and did a search for animal lamps and found the chicken lamp, and then production ordered one and got this cheap little shitty ceramic one, and then they went out and got a taxidermy chicken and made it. I have it. It's hilarious.
If roadside are in the building, you need to license that
Chicken
from
lamb.
Bryan and put that in stores for Christmas, because we will all buy it. We have time for one more. Who's got the best question in the room? You're supposed to say me.
Hey!
Someone said me over here. Okay, yes, you waving right there.
I love the score, and I thought the needle drops were cool and not very obvious. Can you speak to the music used in the movie a little bit?
Yeah, we worked with Isabel Summers, who is a founding member of Florence and the Machine.
Oh, yeah.
And she did a wonderful job with the score. And then we have a few pieces that were done by DJ Shy Boy and Mark Danikian, who are in the audience. Like, a lot of the action sequences, like the Chinatown and the shootouts. They did a lot of those pieces, and it was wonderful to work with them and with Izzy. And the score was kind of an evolution, because we were like, what is the score? What should it be? And we knew that, like, is it a little Desplatty? Is it a little Goldsmithy? We had just about everything in there with temp. And then, you know, when you get into mixing it and you're dropping stems and kind of reorchestrating in ways that you do, that the score was a monumental task in and of itself. And I also have to credit Lisa Lassick, our editor. What editors do in movies versus television is astounding. They are post-production producers. They are so much more involved than they are in television. And it was great to see Lisa run a tight ship.
Woo!
You gotta do this again. This film comes out in December. So like I said at the beginning, you've all got homework. For the next 2 months, you have to preach, right? Because you know what this man went through. He went to Budapest, and
Yeah!
his friends went. And But the obstacles, like this is a film that wouldn't die, right? And I love that. I absolutely love that because you persevered, your crew persevered, your cast, everybody came together, and now we have an obligation and an onus on all of us to support this film, to support Bryan.
Yeah, that's funny.
Right? In a world of IP, and we're all out there saying we want original movies, we want brave ideas and bold visions. You have given us that. You have given us an instant classic. It is a beautiful film. You are a beautiful man with a beautiful mind. Bryan, thank you for being here.